Today I attempted to hand dig a well with a auger. So it's like a post hole digger from the 50s, essentially. And I did it in this little ravine by the grasslands near the campsite. So the creek is still probably half a mile east of where I'm digging. But the idea is that maybe the groundwater is floating in the sand down there. And so I started digging. I hit rock after about 3 feet, but it wasn't like all rock. It was mostly gravel and some coarse sand, but some big rocks about this big, which were easy to hammer out with my rock bar in the first few feet. But as I got deeper up, my hand I couldn't get in there. I couldn't get down in the hole to grab those rocks. So it became increasingly difficult to drill down with that auger. And I'm adding extensions to it. So I believe they're about 3 feet or so. And that allows me to keep on using my hand auger as I go deeper and deeper. So I have about, I think, 15 or 20 feet of extensions. And on my to-do list for today was to drill about 5 feet. I think I got maybe 4 feet. I didn't measure. It was getting a little too hot this afternoon. But I made some progress, I guess. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm going to hit water because of those rocks, because if I can't get them out, I'm not sure. Like, if I can't get them out with the bar and the auger in tandem, I'm not sure how I'm going to get them out. So I might move this project all the way to the creek, where I believe it's going to be sandier and easier to dig. I have no way to run electricity and a water pipe all the way from the creek back to here. And that brings up kind of an idea, essentially to permaculture when you're planning your property is that water is the first priority. Without water, there's no life. So you really want to prioritize water and the procurement of such resource. So I should be by the creek because that's where the water is. There's water in the creek right now. There's these little tanahas that are full of water. And that would be off the road too. Right now, I think I mentioned this an episode or two ago, I'm right off the road, and this was just a temporary spot to get acquainted with the area. It was flat. It was protected from big storms because there's a berm that separates me from the road. So all the water coming from the western watershed comes out onto the road, but then goes down and over into the grassland. So it doesn't hit my campsite. I have 2 campers here, some vehicles, a shade structure. So the water is not going to come down here. So this is why I'm here right now, but this is just temporary. I want to be further out. The property is pretty long. I think it's about half a mile long. So I would rather be over there. I have plenty of room. But the next thing is access. So you have water, access, structures. That's like the basics of planning your site, is to start there. And I don't have access to that area by vehicle. I can walk there. And then it gets pretty hilly, it gets pretty rocky and hot. So I'm thinking about developing, putting a place on the other side of the creek, maybe a few hundred feet in, so it's out of the floodplain, and then and still being in the brush, still being in the trees that are there. If you keep going too far to the east in the mountains, it's just rocks. It's hot rocks facing west. So I don't want to do that. So right now it's about 7 o'clock. It's still pretty hot. This is one of one of the last cool days. I decided to keep working on that well and do some other things outside because of the temperature. It's gonna be in the mid 90s this week, which is fine when it gets to be that temp. Around 2, 3, or 4. That means I can work in the morning. That's what I plan to do. But I was going to go to Alpine today to get those hog panels to finish my garden, but instead I drilled that well, tried to dig it out. And I might have to just take a shovel and just do a well, like a shallow dugout well that way, if it's going to be too rocky around here for me to use that auger. And there's tons of different techniques for drilling wells. There's, the water jet technique. There's the one I tried before that my friend helped me out with the pipe and the steel point and just hammer it in with a sledgehammer. I just don't think that's going to work, at least in this part of the property. It might over there. So that's definitely it's definitely the priority. See you tomorrow.